Hey guys, it's me, my face, and some wonderful summer hair. Tonight's happy dance brought to us by White Claw Seltzer. This is the pineapple flavor. 70 calories, yo. 70 calories. That means I can have like 200 of them. Or two. Actually, what it means is I can have some ice cream later. My name is Andrea, and this is my channel about cross-stitching and alcohol and cats and junk journaling and opinions and stuff I think about and other things. It's a mixed bag. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning visitor, welcome back. I have a few things to chat about this week, but not a whole lot of stitching. So we will front load with that little portion should anyone feel the need to escape when I start talking about something that isn't floss or fabric related. And I'm fine with that. You can be here for the cross stitch and run off, that's fine. The first thing I worked on this week is my Prairie schooler. This is Misfortune. This pattern was a gift from my stitchy godmother, Laura. She sent me a pillow. Have I mentioned it before? She sent me a pillow. So I got a bit more done. This has not been, and I think it may be because I keep trying to work on it while I'm on a Zoom call with my family. I had to pick out these black threads at least like 3 separate times because I was just in the wrong place every time. I don't know why this is giving me such guff. I think on the other side I started with the orange, which seems like it would have been harder, but I didn't have this problem on the other side. So I don't know. But I made some progress. Thank you to those who have made suggestions about what color I can do the crystal ball. I like the idea of like a misty blue, and I think I have more than a few, what do I have over there? Classic Colorworks? Something like that. I think I have more than a few blues in there. And blue is not my usual go-to, so it could be interesting to add it to this. The next thing that I worked on is Templar Prophecy. I actually think I worked on this twice this week, which is unusual unless I'm doing like monogamous whatever, and I wasn't. I think I just forgot I had already worked on it. And I got some stuff done. Let's see, I finished these little kind of bumpy lines here. And then I came up here and did all that fill in for the black around the star, which actually took some time. I don't know what it is about solid black stitching that takes me so long. I should just be able to, with that sound effect, you have to make the sound effect. You would think that it would be quick, and it's not. Easy things aren't easy for me. Easy things just aren't easy for me. I really was hoping to be able to move the Q-snap this week, but I didn't. So maybe next week. The last bit of stitching that I did this week is one you haven't seen in quite some time. I decided to take part in Kismet in July. Christmas in July. I don't know why that's hard for me too. Also Jolly July. I made a little progress on bringing home the tree. And this is a Holt pattern. And this is totally not my aesthetic whatsoever, but it's going to be a gift. So I can enjoy the stitch and not worry about, wow, that's a lot of red in one place. It's a lot of red in one place. But yeah, I got some good progress. Again, not as much as I would have liked to think I would get just doing solid one color stitching. I got a weird stitch there. I don't know that I care. Yeah, I mean, it moved. Can I say that it moved quickly but not fast? No, I really can't say that. That makes no sense at all. I don't know. I worked on it. It only needs to be done by December. No big deal. I did do one other little bit of stitching, but I'm not going to show it to you because it's a secret. And it's not the Bast Cauldron thing. I am still handling that issue. This is a new thing that I was watching somebody's video and I was just moved and I wanted to make something for them, so I'm making something for them, and I will show it to you after it's gifted. But that's the other thing that I worked on. I only got 3 letters done, so I'm not holding out too much on you. And that is it for the stitching this week. I do have a tiny bit of haul, tiny, just from today. I had been, every time I see somebody stitching Teresa Kogut's United We Stand, picture is somewhere, I say, oh, I have to go over and get that. I want that. I like that. I want that. I like that. And I never went and bought it. I bought it today. I don't know when I'm going to start it. Kind of want to start it now, but kind of want to start everything now. I'm not really in a position to do that. But I did purchase it, and so now it is in the rotation of things that I hope to start before I die, because after I die, holding the needle is harder. Maybe that's the true definition of heaven. Like, you get there and all your stitching stuff is set up and everything has perfect tension and you have all the colors you need all the time and you never have to frog. That sounds good to me. I'd visit. I didn't put any new pages in my junk journal this week, but I did create some stuff to go in there. I was watching somebody coffee, tea dye, paper, and this and that, the other thing, and she said something about, oh, you know what would be, would suck this right up? Our coffee filters. Those would look great. And I said, I have coffee filters. I got a little disappointed in my first batch. These were the ones coffee dyed. But I was using coffee grounds that had already been used, and I really get the feeling that if you're not using fresh, unused coffee, the dyeing is just not going to go as well. So these at least are no longer white, but I may over dye them. These were done with a brand new tea bag. And all I did, not even a tea bag, a K-cup, I just cut it open, dumped the tea in some water, and let these sit in there. And now I have some nice little dyed papers. And then I was watching and somebody was doing like a fold and a fold and a fold, and you make a little pocket, and I like little pockets. So I got that started. The other thing I did, and I have to tell you, this is not something that I ever thought I was going to do, I pressed plants or dried plants in the microwave on purpose. I mean, it wasn't like a dinner gone awry. I watched directions and followed them. The flowers that I did, because I only had these little teeny weeny little ones, did not come out so great, and I think they probably could have used some more time in there. But I did a couple of big leaves. Look at the color. And it's dry. It's like papery. But look at how nice and bright it stayed. So I have that one. And then I did a hosta. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. So I can write on these. I can paste them down and paste other things over them. I can do all manner of leafy goodness. Somebody remind me to do this when the leaves start changing, and I can make this Fallapalooza. Remind me to do this, please, because I'll forget. One of the things I think I like best about the junk journaling and especially watching Pam over at the Paper Outpost is how much recycling and reusing it does. I am trying to live a less carbon footprinty, landfill using kind of life. I'm not always that good at it. One of my biggest sins, I think, is using the Keurig and the K-cups, just because they do create so much waste. I tried collecting all of them. I said, oh, I'll use the coffee grounds for coffee dyeing things and I'll clean them out, and once a week. No, I haven't. I have dozens upon dozens of used ones in a bag waiting for me to do something with them. They're going to get thrown out. Does anybody have like a better way of getting, like, I cut myself like twice getting the foil off the top and, you know, trying to clean them out. You get the grounds under my nails and it's just a bad scene. And I saw that there's a gadget like on Amazon where you kind of clamp it down and it has two razor blades and you twist it and it pulls the top off. And that leaves you with the little cup, which you can recycle that. But you still have the plastic ring on the top, which now still goes in the landfill. So is anybody recycling their K-cups? Is anybody doing this? Am I all by myself here? Let me know if you have any ideas. It came up last week, and I know I had at least one or two comments about different floss tubers who are now moving to Patreon, either partially or like Farm Girl has decided to move completely over to Patreon and not to make YouTube videos anymore. I'm heartbroken. This is her choice. And, you know, more than a few people were saying, you know, imagine them trying to charge people to be their friend. That's really not, I mean, I know that's how it can feel. Personally, I would say that people either are trying to be compensated for the time and energy that they put into their videos, especially the ones that do tutorials. You know, all these years we're just used to Vonna giving us everything we wanted. If she had had Patreon for her tutorials, all the kids' college would probably have been paid for by now. Maybe not that much, but still. So I understand what they're trying to do. I also understand the ones that are kind of emotionally doing it for emotional reasons. They want to not have everybody and their uncle that can wander by and make rude comments on their videos, and, you know, something that they put a lot of time and effort into. It's easy to say, well, just ignore those people. Those people are idiots. Well, yeah, they're idiots, but it's there in blazoned on your comments forever kind of thing, unless you delete it and then you're that person that deletes comments you don't like and nobody wants to be that person. So I understand wanting to move to a slightly more like, you know, people are paying to watch the content that you create. They probably want to be there, and they're going to be a lot more receptive. They're going to be a lot more like-minded to what you want to do. So I get all that. I would warn anybody who plans on just shutting down their YouTube and their Instagram to move over to Patreon. You're giving up a big free marketing channel. And especially if you are putting like the business side of things on Patreon, you want to keep that free, open, you know, millions of people have access to what you're putting up on Facebook, or not Facebook, well, Facebook too, but YouTube and Instagram. Don't give that up. Do some check-ins, do some quick little things once in a while, because otherwise nobody's going to know you're over there doing things. They need to know what is going on your Patreon to decide if they want to go over there and support you or not. So I would just caution people, if they're thinking of kind of changing venues and going to someplace where they can be compensated for their time and their expertise and their talent, don't give up everything else, because even though you're not being paid for what you put up on YouTube and Instagram, you still benefit from it. And so do the rest of us, because we like to see people check in and we like to see what people are working on. And I know that I would be more likely to join a Patreon if I was watching a video and somebody said, you know, over on Patreon, I show you how to do this step by step. I have, you know, a 3-part series on not getting your thread knotted or something. You know what I mean? So I'm just putting that out there for somebody who, I am not a marketer, but I work entirely too closely with marketeers. Don't give up your free channels. and don't give up your friends, your casual viewers for, that more hardcore group that you can do the really special stuff for over on Patreon. That said, I am not opening a Patreon because I wouldn't pay for this. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Although I tell you, once a month, getting drunk and stitching, that might be worth paying for. Now I'm thinking. So, I need to tell a story, and it is a sad story. So if anybody is not in a good place to hear an upsetting, animal story, I bid you adieu. Have a lovely day, and I will talk to you in the next video. For those of you who have chosen to stay, I've mentioned that for the past month or so, we've been having a problem, especially with Socks, our little gray and white guy. This is a cat that we referred to as the meatball, as the lasagna. I mean, he would eat his food, his sister's food, and my dinner without thinking about it. And about a month ago, he started skipping meals or eating half a meal and walking away, or, today he'll eat the dry food, tomorrow he won't eat the dry food, tomorrow he'll only eat grilled chicken. The day after that, we don't want grilled chicken anymore, and we'll have a little tuna, that kind of thing. And we took him to the vet actually twice. And they checked him over and they did blood work, and they said, there's nothing really coming up in his blood work. Usually what this would be is like a blockage. If he can't, he may not want to eat because nothing's passing through him. And we thought, yep, that's definitely a possibility. And they said the way to know is to have an ultrasound. So I scheduled an ultrasound, and the day before the ultrasound, or the weekend before it was supposed to happen, he got up. Sorry, this is gross. The biggest hairball I think I've ever seen in my life. It was awful, and yet fascinating. And then after that, his appetite seemed to come back some. And I said, well, that's what it is. It was terrible hairballs. And we called the vet, and they said, yes, that's probably what it is. Get the stuff that you put on the paw. He hates that. Get the treats. He eats those. That's fine. All kinds of things to keep the hairballs at bay. And that's what we've been doing over the past several weeks. And, one day he'd be doing really well, and the next day not as much. And then one day he would eat maybe 3/4 of what he would usually eat, and then the next day nothing at all. And it was just, we were at our wits' end. And unfortunately, I don't know what's happening now with the pandemic. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, either people are watching their animals very closely and noticing things and bringing them to the vet a lot, or it's just it's like a side effect of all the precautions that the animal hospitals and the vets have to go through to make their place COVID safe. But everywhere I called, nobody could see him. My regular vet's office has a sign up saying, our apologies, we occasionally need to take an emergency visit ahead of, your pet here for a wellness check or something like that, because obviously you take the sick animal first. Could not get into my usual vet. I made an appointment now for July the 23rd. I made that 2 weeks ago. I know. So I couldn't get him in anywhere, and I was just at my wit's end. And I called over to the emergency 24-hour animal place, and I said, if I bring him in right now, how long of a wait are we looking for? And she said about 5 hours. So I did not want to, 108 degrees out there, no. So I said, well, what if, like, what if I come in at 3 o'clock in the morning? At this point, I don't really care what it's going to cost me. I just want him to be seen, and I can't sit there for 6 hours waiting for that. So she said, well, obviously we're an emergency place. If somebody comes in, we're going to take them. But, if somebody comes in worse off than your cat, you could end up waiting another 5 hours. So finally I called around to 2 other animal hospitals. And where I ended up is the New England Animal Medical Center in West Bridgewater. They were exceptional. They were efficient. They were sympathetic. They, they dropped everything. The people I was talking to on the phone had the time to talk to me and, asked all the questions and all that. And they said, yeah, let's bring him in. And I said, well, how long of a wait are we looking at right now? And she's like, well, you could be sitting out there an hour and a half. Done. I'm in. So this past Tuesday, I brought him in and they checked him all over. And they agreed with the first vet that, usually something like this is like a blockage. But where he has been using the litter box, they didn't think that really was the problem at this point. More likely there was something going on in his belly or in his abdomen. And the only way to know was to do the ultrasound. So luckily that day, the ultrasound tech was supposed to be in the afternoon. So they said, go home and we will call you after the ultrasound's done and he reads the results and then we'll go from there. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited until I think I left there at 10 in the morning and I waited until 5 or 6 at night and finally called and they said, oh, he just finished with him. They're going through the results and the whole thing. So the vet there called me and she was very, very nice. Unfortunately, my Soxy has cancer and we've decided that we are going to they've put him on steroid and an appetite stimulant, and we're just gonna make him as happy as we can for as long as we can until we can't anymore, and then that'll be it. But it's been a really sad week. It's been a difficult week. We've had these cats since they were kittens. They were like 6 weeks old when we got them, and that was 11 years ago. So they're a huge part of our family. We don't have other children. We only have our pets. And, Mark especially is just absolutely heartbroken. This is his little buddy. This is the one that, they're both our cats, but Dante and I always kind of would interact, and he and Socks were just, 2 peas in a pod, napping on the couch, sharing cheeseburgers, that whole thing. He's just devastated. He's just devastated. We both are. So, if in the coming weeks you notice that I'm holding up kittens more than often than not, or showing pictures of goofy kitties doing goofy things, or ending with videos of my cats being silly, you'll know that we're just trying to celebrate them and trying to make them the center of our attention. Not like they haven't always been, but yeah, tonight Socks had chicken out of my Greek salad and some feta cheese, and then he had steak out of Mark's steak and cheese sub. So yeah, it's just whatever he wants right now is what we're doing. So I'm still appreciative to Mother Bast, who all I asked her for was to help me be smart enough to do what Socks needed, and at least I did. I kept looking for vets, and I kept looking for places we could go, and I didn't give up, and I didn't let fear and depression, make me kind of ignore the situation and say, well, maybe tomorrow he'll be better. Maybe tomorrow. I do believe that she kept me moving. And now she's going to be waiting for him when he's ready to go. So that's about it from me this week. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes and even your dislikes. And thank you so much for your comments. I value them and I read every single one of them. Bye, guys. Hug your kitties.